Okay, so speaking of hot, speaking of the summertime, I gotta ask you this because this was trending on Twitter earlier today before we got rolling here. Well, actually, it was a person was trending on Twitter. It was Buddy Matthews was trending on Twitter, and I
Okay.
clicked on it to see why. And I think it was because there was a rap on AEW having to do with him. But as I was scrolling through, I saw other reasons why maybe he was, but I can't really put my finger on it. But this is something that stood out to me that I have to ask you about because this kind of relates back to parts of your career. Okay. Buddy Matthews is in a relationship with Rhea Ripley.
Okay.
Okay. Rhea Ripley is on screen linked to Dominic Mysterio, who, as we talked about before, is absolutely killing it in the heel department. And it's
Mm.
probably at the top of the heel landscape in all of the pro wrestling sports entertainment industry at the moment. Well, is that safe to say?
I would think so. Everything I see on him is positive. So yeah.
Okay. So that is obviously playing into the fact that fans are kind of saying, well, seeing the on screen chemistry between Rhea and Dom, who she calls Dom Dom affectionately, a lot of touching, a lot of closeness, a lot of, grabbing, whatever.
Okay.
Um, Buddy Matthews, oh, he must not be okay with this. Or if he is okay with this, it must really be eating him alive inside because here's his woman on screen doing this. But I just go back to some of the things that you heard throughout your career about being linked to Shane and your on screen relationship with him, which was that an on screen relationship. Um, the fans kind of taking it a little too far. Is this something that goes along with the territory? Because obviously, Buddy Matthews was sitting next to Rhea Ripley and Dominic at the Hall of Fame last April. So I mean, they're obviously he knows that goes along with the territory of this relationship.
Buddy's in the business. Rhea's in the business. Dom's in the business, right? We are actors. This is a form of acting. We are role playing. We are characters. Sometimes storylines are romantic and involve touching and kissing and over the top innuendos and your partner, especially if he's in the wrestling business, needs to understand that it's all a work. I'm sure Buddy gets it. Now, could he feel uncomfortable? Sure. No one wants to see their significant other rubbing on somebody else or kissing somebody or whatever. That's why I always used to say to Shane, your wife must hate me, even though we never actually like made out. There was never one tongue kiss between us. It was always like that peck or mouths were always closed, but the chemistry was there and it looked like it was more than it was. And, people thought it was more than it was, and it wasn't. And I'll say that until my dying day. I said it a million times, put me on a lie detector. I would swear on a bunch of Bibles. Like it never happened. There was nothing there between us but a good, solid friendship. Still to this day, one of my best friends ever. Seeing your girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, or whatever, it can be difficult. It can be uncomfortable, but especially when you are part of the wrestling business, you know what to expect. These things happen. And Rhea and Dominic are getting over so much, in the heel department, and the fans will come at you and believe that there's something going on. 100%. There's going to be those fans, just like the wrestling sheets that report angles as stories that we talked about, which infuriates me. Like, I still don't get that. These wrestling fans some of them are naive. They will believe whatever they watch on TV as real, as gospel, as truth. They take offense. They will fight. They will call names at each other. If you don't support their character, if you don't support who they like, blah, blah, blah. If you say something negative about somebody, It's just the way the business is. You have to do things to go along with the story. And Buddy gets it. He gets it. He's probably friendly with Dominic. They're sitting, like you said, they're sitting at the Hall of Fame together. He knows what's up. There's going to be a time maybe when he's got to do the same thing, in AEW with one of the ladies. And she's going to have to suck it up because it's the business. It's storyline development. It's character development. That's what happens. It's inevitable. It happens almost to everybody. People are linked all the time. It's like a movie. We call it live theater. That's what it is. It's not real.
Yeah.
It's work. So, if he has a problem with it, then I don't think he should be in the business. And it doesn't look like he does have a problem with it. You have to suck it up.
I wouldn't have thought so. I wouldn't have thought so at all. I mean, because in AEW, he has Julia Hart, who's a part of that House of Black.
But is it a romantic character with her?
It's not yet. I don't believe so. Again, yeah. I'm not too keen on the AEW storyline, but she's a part of that House of Black. And from what I understand on the outside, in the business, Buddy Murphy is like super tied to her in terms of business tidings and what she's doing outside the business. So he's working closely with her. So who knows? I mean, you never know what happens outside there. I don't know.
Here's an example for you. Matt Cardona has Steph DeLander, is that how you pronounce her name? Married to Chelsea Green. Chelsea works in WWE, right? Matt's on the road with Steph constantly.
Yeah.
If you don't have trust there, what do you have? Now I don't know if their characters I don't think their characters are romantically linked. They're just like the king and queen of the death match scene or whatever they call themselves. I don't even know what they're calling themselves. But like I just was scrolling through Twitter this morning and both of them are in Japan together. Now, if I am married to Matt or somebody in the business like that, and my husband's traveling all these different places, yeah, I would be a little on edge and be a little jealous. But looking at it as, a business perspective, this is their gimmick. This is their character. You love somebody, you have to trust somebody. If you don't have trust in your relationship, then you shouldn't be in a relationship with that person. Bottom line. I know stuff happens, especially in wrestling. The boys are known to roam. I'm not saying that Matt is. I'm not saying that Buddy. I'm not saying anybody. Please don't quote me and saying people are cheating. I'm just saying, especially when you work for two different feds, you're going to be linked up with somebody eventually, down the line. You have to have a thick skin and you have to have trust in your partner.
Right.
And that goes a long way. And if the trust isn't there, it's going to eat you up and you're going to go crazy. So, if their spouses and significant others are okay with it, then the world has to be okay with it. And all this little, talking here and there needs to stop. Oh, there she is.
Okay, let me play this for you because this is one of the things people are talking about from today.
Okay.
So this Fightful Wrestling shared this. This is our buddy Sean Ross Sapp's Fightful Wrestling. It says, Rhea has no chill. The question is, what's her favorite thing to do with Dominic Mysterio?
Okay.
Here we go. Make sure this plays.
What's her favorite thing to do together with Dominic Mysterio? I think you already know that answer.
Oh, that's okay. Obviously in character. Obviously, come on. She's in character. That was probably not probably. That was a WWE interview. Had to be okayed by the office. You're in character 100%. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Great answer.
Absolutely.
Great answer. You want us to believe there's something going on? Well, there you go. And I'm sure that Buddy saw that and he laughed his ass off.
All right. Let's go to, how about this one? This is the AEW rap. Who is it? The Acclaim that do the raps. Here we go. This is what they had to say.
Wow. Ah, clever. But do
So,
you really think that they should be shouting out like the other feds
well,
performers?
no, that's the thing about what these guys
That's what
do.
they
They
do.
constantly
Yeah.
shout out the
Yeah.
other
Wow.
company, and that's you never the old adage that you never point up, or you never point, you're never supposed to point down. You're supposed to point up. Well, I would never acknowledge the
No.
company above
No.
us ever.
No.
But so that's what's fueling the flames of the fans. But in this instance, the super
Funny.
marks that are going nuts that are saying like, oh well, she's obviously doing something with him on the side, and
Why?
to,
Why is it obvious?
well, because they are so good at what they do, and they're fooling you into believing
Good
that
for them.
in the exact same manner that you guys were, because you guys were just absolutely engrossed in your character and your personas, that you had everyone believing, even potentially the locker room, that you guys were an item. And that's
Right.
what means A, you're good at what you do, and B, you guys are money. And that's where, there has to be a separation somewhere between fantasy and reality. And, how does it end? Did they break
Uh,
them up now because there's maybe a complaint from the significant other, or, maybe they don't want to see it go that way, and they're preventing a long-term breakup or something like that?
they're not going to do a thing. This is a hot act that is drawing money and drawing ratings. They're not touching it. There's no way. No way. But he's got to, if he has a problem with it, he's just has to accept it. He needs to just accept it. And I'm sure he is. I'm sure this is more the fans fueling the fire than him complaining about certain things. You know what I mean? I mean, if you
Yeah.
want to go back, Matt Hardy and Lita were in a relationship, and they had her and Edge in a bed in the center of the ring under the covers, literally tongue kissing the whole time. Now that to me had to be hard to watch. But then again, how could you say anything? Because now you're looking at it and you're thinking it's an angle, but it was for real then. That kind of situation, like, they say when people act, and sometimes like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, they did Mr. and Mrs. Smith, fell in love on set, married man. I don't know if she was married at the time. I can't remember, but they fell in love, and here they leave their significant others, and
They both were. I think she
okay,
was
Billy
married
Bob
to
Thornton.
Billy Bob Thornton. Yep.
Okay, it happens. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it can't happen. But you have to just, again, it goes back to like trusting your partner. And if your relationship is strong and your love is real, then you'll weather the storm, and the angle will move on, and everybody will be okay. But it doesn't happen every time. Like, some people keep it 100% professional. And Shane and I were 100% professional, whether anybody believes it or not. I'm sure. I mean, I don't know them, but maybe Rhea and Dominic are just 100% professional. We don't know. Well, you don't know what happens behind closed doors. It's none of our business. But you can't judge them because of what you see on a TV show. That's what I'm trying to say. They're working. They're working everybody.
Do you think this picture might fan the flame a little bit? Somebody put in an angry Buddy Matthews next to a picture of Dom pointing at Rhea's
like it.
rear end.
Right.
Rhea end there.
It's not fun. It can't. It's not fun for you to watch your spouse be with another person. I'm not denying that, but it's an angle. Now down the line, if they come out and they say, "Oh my God, guess what? Rhea leaves Buddy Murphy for Dominic Mysterio," then we'll know. Holy crap! Something developed, and things can develop. You don't know. You don't know, but if you're a fan, just enjoy the product and keep your 2 cents to yourself. Think what you want, but it doesn't mean it's true. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying.
Yeah. I think Edge, Lita, and Matt Hardy may be the most,
Oh, that was
I would
terrible.
say, just, I would say, like, heat driven, on screen, off screen. Everybody knew what was going on. Fan, or you're in the business, everybody knew everything. Story ever unfolded in professional wrestling history. Like, there could be a book written about what happened with all that, and there's shoot interview stories that are in compilation form on YouTube. You could go watch it. Matt Hardy tells the whole story. Lita, I think, shares parts of it. They've all talked about it. Edge, I think, shares it in a book or something. They've all talked about it.
Wow.
But with you and Shane, again, what made you guys just so good is that you guys were the top heel act at the time. And it just made you guys seem like, well, they got to be on an item to be this good. Like, nobody can be this good of an act unless they're living it 24/7 outside the ring. But you were just a simple act. And that is what I think made you guys so awesome together. So it's just, but you guys felt the heat, right? You guys always felt like you had the eyes on you 24/7.
Well, we did. And could you imagine if we had social media back then? Like, how more intense everything would have been? Like, I always say, if we had social media, I think the company would have survived. I think we would have had, more coverage, free publicity kind of deal. But even for our characters and just being in that company on social media, like the self-promotion that we could have did for ourselves, and it could have blew up to be an even bigger entity than it was. And just for Shane and I, like, we worked together, we trained together, we ate together, we traveled together. It was that kind of partnership, and we always had Damien with us too. So it wasn't
Right.
it wasn't like it was just me and him. Damien was the driver for us, and he was always with us. And we just tried to do the best job possible that we could to make people believe that there was something there. We didn't like, it wasn't over exaggerated, if that makes any sense. We never would go to a club and make out against the wall or hold hands or there was nothing like that. It was just, I think everything that you saw that people believed was on air.
Right.
It wasn't outside. We didn't we weren't all over each other outside when we would, go to dinner or go places. It was always a group of us. It was never just the two of us intimately. There was always a bunch of people. It was always Damien there. So we weren't like just together you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't over exaggerated. It was organic, and it just came across well on film.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else to say. Maybe if there was social media, we would have played it up a little more and did the angle online and stuff, but we didn't have that stuff back then. So and without that stuff, look how people believed it. We didn't even have all this extra BS to add to the gimmick. It was just what you saw on screen, and there was just a spark.
Yeah.
And that's what made it special.
And people still think you're married to this day.
To this day, how's your husband? I go, oh, he's pretty good. Oh, is he still Russell? Oh, what? Shane Douglas. I'm like, what?
Let me show you one more thing. So you and Shane evolved your entrance into, the peck, and then Shane does the heart attack and hits the mat, right?
Yeah.
There's another thing that call this Exhibit C that people are pointing,
people.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a ring entrance at a house show.
Okay.
I guess you call this the tame 2023 ring entrance, right? There's Dom, it's the ring, he's got his arms up, there's a little Eddie Guerrero.
Okay. A headbutt?
He did a little head thing.
Okay, that's cute.
So they're saying, oh, that's cute. Like, oh. So people are really grasping at straws. But again, in social media in 2023, sometimes that's all it takes to get under
Exactly.
people's skin. So I hope they don't crumble a relationship for the sake of
No, come on now. I
whatever.
think it'll be fine.